Welcome back. I want to get to a report from today's Washington Post about the president's new morning ritual. It says Trump is struggling to stay calm when it comes to Russia. One morning call at a time. Quote, the calls detailed by 3 senior White House officials are part strategy consultation and part presidential venting session, during which Trump's lawyers and public relations gurus take turns reviewing the latest headlines with him. They also devise their plan for battling his avowed enemies, the special counsel leading the Russia investigation, the fake news media chronicling it, and in some instances, the president's own Department of Justice. Joining our conversation, our own mini White House press pool, one of the authors of the piece, Washington Post White House Bureau Chief Philip Rucker, Bloomberg News White House correspondent Shannon Pettypiece, and with me here in studio, Politico White House reporter Matt Nussbaum. First of all, Philip Rucker, I don't even know what it's like to work at the Washington Post. You guys are going to start having paparazzi outside for all the junkies who are living and dying.
It's an exciting time.
If we had more time, I'd tell you what happened. Today I got locked out of my Washington Post subscription. You could literally hear me screaming a block away. So tell me about this piece, because I have not heard any of this reporting before. Tell me about Donald Trump's new morning ritual.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen every morning, but many mornings recently, he's been getting on the phone early, like 6:30 in the morning, 7 in the morning, to call one of his lawyers or maybe one of his outside advisors on this legal team to just walk through Russia stuff. It's sort of an unstructured time for him to stew and talk over the latest headlines, to kind of do a game plan, to chew over things. And the White House advisors like him doing this. They feel like it adds some structure to his morning. And more importantly, by the time he shows up for work in the Oval Office, he's already gotten all of the Russia stuff out of his system. That's the goal, at least.
Well, it's not always achieved. They still find him tweeting and weighing in and other. I mean, he went to his rally and let it rip. I mean, are they really? I guess it's all relative.
It's all relative. It doesn't exactly work. He's not somebody who can compartmentalize these things very well at all. His moods kind of fuse together. And so what you end up happening is these Twitter outbursts. You'll have him kind of turn into a rant sometimes when he's in meetings with his staff. He's always thinking about Russia. It's that cloud, as he puts it, that hangs over his presidency.
Shannon, let me ask you about who's up and who's down. There was a lot of talk on the back end of the foreign trip that with pulling out of the Paris Accord, the Bannon wing was once again ascendant and the establishment folks were on the decline. Talk to me. I mean, Philip's got some great reporting about how he's constantly mad at his staff, and latest targets include White House counsel Don McGahn and always poor Reince Priebus, who's always in his crosshairs. But what are you hearing about that internal dynamic?
I think this who's up, who's down, who's in and out is going to continue going on, and I think almost part of it is by design. I mean, when this administration was put together, it was no secret that they were putting people all in a room with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different perspectives, taking Steve Bannon and this nationalist view with Gary Cohn from Goldman Sachs, who's essentially a Democrat, putting those two in a room. Jared Kushner, also, sort of viewed as a Democrat, with Reince Priebus from the RNC. So, this sort of chaos was almost created by design. I don't think it's going anywhere. And, part of the issue is the more these members of the team are attacked, the more the president almost seems to come to their defense and seems to rally behind them and sort of circle the wagons and protect them. So, at some point, is Reince Priebus going to be here 4 years from now? Maybe not. But is any chief of staff going to be there 4 years from now? And for now, it seems like, as dysfunctional and chaotic as it is, the president's sticking by his team. Of course, that could all change tomorrow, but that's the sense I get as of tonight.
We're off the air, and we'll bring it right to everybody. Matt, let me get you on the record on not just this question about staff chaos, because I think there's a parallel during the campaign. We all kept waiting for the pivot to something that resembled a more traditional demeanor for the nominee of a party. We said, oh, once he's the nominee, he'll change. I think it was one of the factors that led to Manafort being tossed out. Donald Trump said, I'm not going to change. I am who I am. And now people thought that once he was president, he might change. Then they thought once he was under investigation, he might change. Then they thought once he had personal lawyers, he might stop tweeting. Donald Trump is never going to change. Is there still an expectation game in Washington, on the Hill, or on K Street that anything's going to change?
Well, I think you're right that there's been this pattern. So people now finally realize, I would hope at this point, that the Donald Trump who they see every day, who they see on Twitter, who they see at these wild press conferences, that is President Donald Trump. And whenever people think after a congressional address, oh, now he's being more serious, now he's more sober, that's not the day-to-day Trump. The Trump you see on Twitter, the Trump you see off script, is President Donald Trump. And I think for a lot of folks on the Hill, a lot of Republicans, that's sort of a frustrating and worrisome reality.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.